As I've said in the past, the primal is a major aspect of what sinisterism is. What we are attempting to do is go back, way back into the primordial, earlier than the 3,000 years that spans the Abrahamic traditions. And communing with the ancient gods is a way of accessing that primal spirit, that primal mind. As I've stated many times in the past, the sect of the Horn God does not invoke just Satan or Lucifer. We also utilize Lilith, Pan, Cernunnos, Prometheus, Dionysus, Shiva, Kali, Odin. You can say the name the Horn God is a blanket term for these entities, these gods, because even though in some ways they're vastly different, they all share a similar shadow aspect. Besides maybe the sun or Mother Earth herself, the Horn God is the most primal of gods. And the primitive Horn God is what we're trying to reach by peeling away the layers of the psyche to get down to the subconscious and hopefully the collective unconscious, the source of it all, the realm of the archetypes. And that's where you'll find the source of the divine. But before we can access the divine, we must access the primal power of nature, the human as animal, the beast within us all, the beast that should not be ignored. The name of that original Horn God, though, the name of that primal aspect of the psyche has been lost to antiquity, but its essence lives deep within us. This truth, though, is not easy to come by. You can't wish it into being. But with an understanding of that primordial God within, we get a better understanding of the self. It's not unlike an adult who tries to understand who they are in the present by going back in their personal past to understand the traumas of childhood. This is an attempt to understand what their foundation is built upon. During an individual's lifetime, the makeup of the personal unconscious is manifested, but the contents of the collective unconscious consist of archetypes that were present from the very beginning. And many were manifested by our most primitive forebears. And in most cases, they were pre-human. The fear of snakes, for example, that which many people have, dates back to our tree-dwelling primate ancestors. And in that moment, when that first primordial ancestor learned to fear the snake, deep down in the psyche, the serpent gods were born. This archetype, like all archetypes, now exist at the foundation of being, in the collective unconscious. But why bother with a philosophy like sinisterism, the left-hand path, or the occult in general? Why not use basic psychology to access our primal nature, you might be thinking. Why? Because you're not going to be able to open those portals through basic psychological means. This is because you'll be coming at it from the ego perspective. You'll be perceiving the primordial as a rational observer instead of as a participant. By participating in occultic practices, you become one with the primordial self, not simply an observer of it. Our ancestors innately understood this. Occultic practices were a way of life, of existence. It wasn't like religion. The ancient Indo-Europeans, for example, had no name for their beliefs. Now, we, looking back, call these beliefs Hellenistic, Druidic, Asatru, whatever, but in truth, the gods were everywhere, inside and out. As I've stated in the past, this was not a faith, but a state of being. Total immersion, it surrounded you like the air, the wind, a storm. But our ability to perceive the reality of the ancient gods has been lost here in the West. And who is to blame? Let's blame fucking Rome for adopting Christianity and that detrimental philosophy of separating the shadow from the God, separating the two aspects of being, the two key characteristics of what it is to be human. And in the process, they vilified the horned god, that which is the antithesis of all the early Christians saw as holy. And for that Christian dogma to survive, for there to be total control over the flock, these basic human characteristics had to be subdued. But the early European Christians understood, either consciously or unconsciously, this aspect was a big part of what a person is. So by telling the masses that who they are at their core is evil, is a great way to subjugate them. They were born evil. You're born evil. Thus, the carnal aspect of being is synonymous with original sin. This is why Satan, who has no physical characteristics in the Bible, took on those of the horned god. They gave a faceless concept out of Hebrew mythology, Ha-Satan, the adversary, a face, and it was the horned god's face. A mask of the primordial shadow self. In conclusion, this is why the sect of the horned god exists. We are here to give you tools to reach the primordial, tools to peel away those layers, to find the truth and uncover the divine. The divine that most Abrahamists believe is separate from us, out there somewhere, but is in truth within us all.